Here we go. Podcast 1 of Mind the Flat. I'm here with myself, Christopher Heffernan.
Hi, I'm Tom Crowther.
Hello, I'm Amy Isles.
And we will be discussing the hot issues of our time. Starting this week with what's the best thing since sliced bread? Or in fact, has there ever been anything that's better than sliced bread?
Yes.
I would also argue yes.
So, we're going to start just with what we think the best thing of our week has been, given that we're discussing the best thing since sliced bread today. So, Amy, what's been the best thing in your week?
Well, we had a pretty lovely weekend as a flat, really. We were celebrating the other one's 21st birthday, which was lovely. Went out for a few cocktails. Then the next night we went to a fireworks night. It was really nice. Your girlfriend was here, Chris. Your home friend and the other one's home friend was here, Tom.
That's lovely. It's nice and wholesome.
Very wholesome. I know what's coming next.
I quite enjoyed it when we went to the fireworks, actually.
Do you want to explain what happened there, Tom?
So the firework display was cancelled halfway through the display because it started raining embers of fire on the audience. There were children crying because their faces had been burned by flames. I just want to point out that's not the bit that I enjoyed.
So the highlight of my week.
But there was a hog roast, and you just can't deny the supremacy of a hog roast. Like, that's
Gotta
where
be
it's
the
at.
highlight of the week.
Which very much saved me, having been me that organised the firework trip, the hog roast, the fact there were no fireworks, the hog roast saved the day, I think.
Yeah. I think we actually probably enjoyed it more than the one we went to last year, purely because there was a hog roast. Like, never mind the fireworks being cancelled.
And because of all the men called Graham when they were leaving the rugby club going, "Oh, we better get a refund. Oh, this is not acceptable." Go on then, Chris, what's yours?
Oh, well, I feel if I don't say it, I'm going to be very quickly single. So I think the best thing of my week would have to be the fact that my long distance girlfriend was here for the last week in total. So that's meant it was a very fun week and a very relaxing week. So there we go. I've said that. It's out there in the world. I can't now be dumped for not saying it.
Oh, you can't be dumped for not saying it. There are many other reasons.
Covered yourself on one base there.
There we
Chris.
go.
Good
Yeah,
start.
one step forward.
Boom, boom, boom. Mind the flat. Boom, boom, boom.
So then, what is the best thing since sliced bread? So I feel we need to start with the facts. So sliced bread was first sold in 1928. It's an American invention.
Of course it is.
Something we Brits cannot claim for ourselves. That I feel is the basic fact. 1928. So we're looking for, has anything been better since 1928 than the invention of sliced bread?
I can definitely think of some things that are worse that have been invented since 1928.
I mean, that's not the question.
The atomic bomb, maybe.
Oh,
Well, I mean,
dark.
it's meant to be the light-hearted one, Tom, as we sort of warm up.
All right,
So
maybe not the worst thing since 1928 then.
no, so let's stick with the best thing
The best
since
thing.
1928 /
Nuclear crash.
since sliced bread. Right.
Tom.
So go on then, Tom. What do you think is the best thing that has happened since sliced bread?
It's obviously the mobile phone.
The mobile phone.
I mean,
The mobile phone.
it's-
I thought you said the McMuffin at
the
first.
McMuffin, yes.
I was like, yes, McMuffins.
I don't even know if the McMuffin outlasts. It comes after 1920. I mean, I assume it does.
It's got to have
surely.
come afterwards.
Fair enough, but yeah, I reckon mobile phone. Mobile phone definitely it's helped communications, and then as it transitioned into the smartphone, it's helped make sure that people have certain access to certain things in a lot more fluid way. There's healthcare that's accessible through mobile phones now. There's like in I think it's Kenya. There's a thing called M-Pesa, and they transfer money as a currency over text. So they have this like solely online currency, and it helps like small businesses get loans, and so it helps them develop the local businesses within the economy and that sort of thing, and that can really have like some profound effects.
To be fair, I think I'd be more lost now if I went out and I lost my phone rather than my purse. I'd be more
or
worried
your
about
sliced bread.
Oh, my
Oh no,
sliced
I've
bread.
lost my sliced bread.
Oh gosh, what a travesty. But no, genuine, like, your whole life is on your phone nowadays.
Mhm. Especially yours.
Thanks, Tom. Most addicted one in the flat. But no, like, your social media's on there. You, like, a lot of people have their bank details on their phone. Use it like Apple Pay to pay for stuff.
Your photos, your memories.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time I wrote down my long card number. Autofill every single time.
Yeah.
Straight away. Yeah. I mean, and you've got things now. So it's like pairs to other devices. You can turn your lights on and off. You can start your music, stop your music. I mean, first of all, you've got music on your phone.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to, like, and the environmental impacts of that as well. Like, you don't have to buy CDs, you don't have to buy DVDs, that sort of thing. Like, everything can be compacted into this tiny little device, and you don't have, like, paper as well. You don't need to write letters to people. You can send off a little email. There's less infrastructure needed because you don't have to put so much in to transfer communications now. I think undoubtedly the best thing since sliced bread.
Also, how many people use landline nowadays as well? Because, like, everyone's just got a
Depends
mobile
whether
phone
you're
contract.
over 50 or not.
This is true. This is true.
I
Hi,
mean,
Mum.
There's absolutely no way that I'm using a landline. Just has no
There's
no
no point
benefit
anymore, is there?
Yeah. 3 calls after 6 on BT. That used to be a thing. Is that still a thing? I don't know.
So there we go.
Indeed.
But, Tom, let me put this to you. Before 1928, we had bread. People people experienced the stresses of having to cut bread. But we didn't know the difficulties we were going through before we had a mobile phone. We just lived life. We didn't realise that, posting a letter takes 2 days, it's a bit annoying. We didn't think, there could be this really fast way. Whereas people surely thought as they were cutting bread, surely someone could just cut this.
Yeah, but people also had knives, so they could cut the bread, whereas they didn't have instant messaging, and so couldn't instant message. And then the technology came along and created instant messaging, and they've solved it. They've improved the situation. Whereas all that sliced bread does is it just takes one tiny thing out of your life that you have to do.
Well, Tom, let me tell you, okay? In 1943, the US banned sliced bread.
I read
Okay,
this, I think.
this is part of the war effort was to ban sliced bread because the manufacturing of weaponry and other wartime necessities was deemed more important than the manufacturing of bread slicing machines. Now, one woman wrote to the New York Times, and if she was still with us today, she'd be here, Tom, telling you just what she thought of your comment of, it's just a little thing. So she wrote to the New York Times to say, I should like to let you know how important sliced bread is to the morale and saneness of a household. My husband and 4 children are all in a rush during and after breakfast. Without ready sliced bread, I must do the slicing for toast. 2 pieces for each one. That's 10 slices. For their lunches, I must cut by hand at least 20 slices for 2 sandwiches apiece. And afterward, I make my own toast. So that is 22 slices of bread to be cut in a hurry. Now that is not just a small thing that's been taken out of her day. That can really affect how you start your day. The stress that could be caused by cutting 22 pieces of sliced bread.
And that is more important than all of the things that have been achieved by the mobile phone.
Completely. Yes.
You're going to substantiate that in any way? I just
No.
cannot see how this could possibly be true.
Because without sliced bread, without the ease and the relaxation around breakfast, the people that invented the mobile phones would have gone to work stressed, annoyed, unhappy. They would not have been in a good mind to have inventive and innovative thoughts. So I could go so far as to argue that without sliced bread, the mobile phone would not exist.
What if these people ate cereal for breakfast?
Or porridge, which is
Then
probably
they
more
most-
nutritional.
They most definitely were not people to be innovative. Everyone knows toast is the best thing to have for breakfast.
But porridge.
Also, you don't often have toast for breakfast, Chris.
Yeah,
We know this because we
hang
live
on.
with you.
Slam! When was the last time you had toast for breakfast?
And also, what do you have on your toast, Chris, as a teetotal?
What do I have on my toast? Well, you see, Actually, I'm very specific about toast. I was discussing this the other day. I feel there needs to be a different topping depending on the colour of your bread. So firstly, no one should ever toast 50-50 bread.
Of course.
Okay? It should not be done.
No
It's
one
rubbish.
should ever buy 50-50, but commit. Choose white or choose brown. Don't go half and half. You're trying to please everyone. You end up pleasing no one. 50-50 bread should be illegal.
To be fair, when I was younger, I'm not a big dairy fan, and I never used to drink milk or eat cheese or eat yogurt. And my mum used to buy 50-50 bread, and I swear that stopped me having a calcium deficiency because I think they put extra calcium in it.
Then just put extra calcium in either of the two types of bread. Don't mix the breads.
But I think there was a reason that it had to be the 50-50 bread.
Ah.
So I will stick up for 50-50 bread. But anyway, that's
Now,
not the point we're debating
50-50
here.
bread is a form of sliced bread. And so therefore,
here we go.
that form of sliced bread has saved Amy's
Sliced
life.
bread.
It has
I'm only here
stopped
because of
her.
Sliced bread.
Go on, Chris. You were talking about the
Oh,
type
yeah,
of
different things.
Sorry.
toppings on
This can be Chris's insert of toast advice. So I would highly recommend, if you've got a brown piece of toast, okay, that needs to have a jam. Okay, now I have a particular fancy for a whiskey jam. Having accidentally eaten it while staying at Amy's house.
Force-fed by my mother. Hi, Mum, again.
So I think, yes, marmalade is a versatile one. That can go on white or brown. But I would curse the human beings who put honey on their brown toast.
I mean, why would you put honey on bread anyway? Like, I just don't understand
Where
that.
else are you going to put honey?
In porridge or...
No. Honey, white toast is the ideal. That is the ultimate image of sliced bread toasted perfection. White sliced bread toasted, because that's another thing. I mean, how annoyed would you be if you can't get a consistent slicing, goes in the toaster, doesn't toast properly because it's not quite the right size? Incredibly annoying. So again, sliced bread, nice and stress-free life. Butter melted onto it, and then some honey. Delicious.
Just to play devil's advocate there, Chris. So, at home, we've got a farm shop and they sell unsliced bread.
Yeah.
And what is lovely about unsliced bread is you can have like a proper doorstopper sandwich, like really thick slices of nice bread, quality bread, lashings of toppings and sandwich fillings. See, with sliced bread you can't do that. You're stuck to the same. And also, some sliced bread is so thin it could be a window. Like, you can see through some sliced bread.
But Amy, you're buying the wrong sort. Because they come in different types.
Yeah, but then you have to like decipher between. It's very stressful.
And how often do you have one of these doorstopper sandwiches?
About once every 3 months.
So once every 3 months, go and buy yourself one of these rolls. And how often are you eating sliced bread?
I don't eat sliced bread that often anymore. Like, I can't remember the last time I brought a bread loaf, but then again, I do steal all of your bread.
Exactly.
I mean, I only ever bake my own bread. Well,
Ew,
part
Thomas.
bake my own bread.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah, that doesn't count. Okay, just to clarify there, Tom buys the part-baked baguettes from Asda, which
can
is
keep
what
them in
he
their
means
packaging.
by
They don't
baking
go
my
off.
own bread. He doesn't sit there and knead it and...
As a student, right, there are pretty
Classing
much
this as
three
part
options
baking.
when it comes to bread. There's share bread, and I'm not about that life. There's freeze bread, and I'm not a psychopath. And then there's part baked bread, or your bread goes off. And part baked
Or-
bread is the one.
Or you've missed the other one that I do. And you go and buy a baguette every other day.
That's just too much.
A fresh
effort, isn't
baguette.
it?
Also,
What's the point
rewind...
in sliced bread then, if you just have to go to the shops every time you want to eat bread?
Ooh.
You're going
think
back
he's
and
got
forth
you
to Tesco. Oh, I just want a baguette. I'll keep going backwards and forwards. Because your sliced bread, that's going off. You can't have a sliced bread as a student because...
I buy a mini one and have it for toast in the mornings. Doesn't go off. White bread lasts forever.
But why don't you buy it then?
I do.
And then I
Well, I don't want it for sandwiches.
About to go off.
You don't want it for sandwiches. Is it inadequate?
Yeah.
So there we are. So there we
Sliced
are.
bread
Chris-
is
Chris
inadequate
has
for
said it.
sandwiches.
Sliced bread is inadequate. Thank you, Chris. Your argument is now futile.
But just rewinding a second, when you said sharing bread, we shared bread last year. Was it that horrific sharing bread with... Oh yeah, I know why now actually.
You do know why.
How much
Yes.
sharing was involved, Amy?
Yeah.
In a row, I think I ended up buying 8 breads?
I think it was 5.
I mean, I counted 8.
I counted 5. And towards the end, I didn't eat that much bread, actually.
Well, let's go for the lower estimate then of 5. That's still not sharing. I bought 5 loaves of bread in a row.
Okay,
it's
fair,
meant to
fair.
alternate, and I've bought 5.
Yeah, I wasn't very good at that.
So that's, ladies and gentlemen, why we don't share bread.
Okay, so coming back to
Tom.
our thing, best thing since sliced bread. Tom has attempted. You can judge for yourselves how successfully he's done it. So the mobile phone, if you've heard of one, is better than sliced bread. Let's go to Amy. Amy, what have you got to say that you think is the best thing since sliced bread?
Well, I am going for something that was discovered / refined / invented quite soon after sliced bread. The same year, actually, as sliced bread, which is penicillin. So, penicillin, discovered by Alexander Fleming in 1928, same year as sliced bread was invented. It was actually a mistake that he discovered it. He left a petri dish of Staphylococcus.
Staphylococcus aureus.
That's the one. Thank you, Tom. In a laboratory, and he came back and he found the mould on it and found it was penicillin, which has gone on to save many, many lives. I would argue, one of the most important discoveries in the history of medicine. So yeah, that's my argument. So I think, by the fact that it was one of the first things to happen after sliced bread, therefore everything after penicillin has to be the best thing since penicillin.
Now, penicillin, was it invented or was it discovered?
Well, technically it's discovered, but Fleming obviously had to treat it in a way to make it for public use. You couldn't just feed someone mould.
That's fine. So what you're saying is that penicillin existed before sliced bread?
No, she's saying it's
No.
afterwards.
No, it was discovered.
The-
And therefore, it was only discovered after sliced bread was invented. And therefore...
No. I'm arguing for the public use of penicillin, not penicillin itself.
Right, so you're
Sorry,
saying
I should have clarified
the
that.
best thing since sliced bread is the public use of penicillin.
Or I'm not very good at... This
That's
is why I'm
highly
going to fail
specific.
so hard in these podcasts, because I'm not very good at... I can't even think of the word. Speaking.
Yeah, the word is speaking.
Just to clarify,
Speaking.
Amy isn't a second. English isn't her second language. This is her first language. She's been speaking it for 20 years,
Oh, dear.
and so yeah, she's still struggling though. So if you could just bear with her, we'd appreciate it. She'll get there in the end.
Right, so the best thing since sliced bread, you're claiming, is the public use of penicillin.
Well, not the public use, but the...
Medical use.
Yeah, the medical use of penicillin.
That's quite a hard one to argue with, actually.
Thank you very much. That ends our podcast.
I don't think it quite ends it.
What a shame.
Well, so penicillin has definitely helped save some lives.
A few.
For sure, but as Chris said earlier on, using his own point against me, did people know what penicillin could do before it was invented? No one knew what they were missing out on before
Well,
penicillin.
I would argue against that, because obviously people were dying, so they were like, "Oh, people are dying. We should probably do something about that."
Has the mobile phone not allowed more people to access penicillin quicker? So you've got patient access in the UK that you can use to access your doctors. You can call your doctors if you're feeling ill, or if you just think about emergencies as well. Like if you're in the middle of nowhere and you get run over, someone's with you with a mobile phone. They can call the emergency services.
Yeah, but if they've got that mobile phone and no penicillin, they're going to be calling someone and they're not going to know what to do. We haven't got...
The penicillin is no use when the person can't get to the hospital because no one's been able to call them an ambulance. If they're stuck dying in a field and no one's there to call, then in the past, before the mobile phone, it would have to have been the person finds the nearest public phone or someone's house, and then calls an ambulance, and then you're there for God knows how long before the ambulance turns up. Whereas if you've got a mobile phone, the ambulance not only can you call the ambulance, but it can also track your location and get to you.
Yeah, but without penicillin, there would be no use for the mobile. In that instance, without penicillin, there'd be no reason to use the mobile phone. Like, you're using the mobile phone in order to get to the penicillin.
Well, people still recovered before penicillin. It's not a miracle drug. Just because someone has been run over doesn't mean they're going to die if they don't get penicillin.
But then, Tom, people still communicated before the mobile phone. So just because the mobile phone doesn't mean people can now communicate. People were communicating
It's
before the
just
mobile
sped up
phone.
the process.
Well, yeah, exactly. But that's the important thing. The important thing is the speeding up the process.
Whereas
Because
penicillin-
if someone's bleeding out on the floor, you're going to want a sped up process. You're not just going to want, oh, well, maybe in about an hour or so, we might be able to find a phone where we can then call someone who might come and help you.
But penicillin hasn't just
Oh,
sped
well,
up the
where are
process.
you? Oh, well, I'm near this place. But it's also a little bit closer to this place. Oh, should we just track your phone? Oh, I'm sorry. I've actually walked about half an hour away from the place where it happened.
But penicillin didn't just improve the process, it sorted the
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
It instantly changed things.
Yeah, so did the mobile phone.
But that's improved things that were happening.
Yeah,
It
so
would have been harder to get by. It would be, like Amy said, death
I
without
think
penicillin.
Penicillin is technically one of the most important inventions in the history. As I said, is one of the most important discoveries in the history of medicine. Like, in terms of what it's done for curing bacterial infections, whereas beforehand they were one of the largest causes of death. This discovery saved millions and millions of lives.
I wonder if Fleming had toast for breakfast.
Oh dear.
I feel that's something that, if anyone knows and we're popular enough, please get in contact and let us know if you know whether Fleming had toast for breakfast. 'Cause, I mean, if he did, there is nothing better than sliced bread.
I have a sneaking suspicion that he's a cereal man.
I wonder, maybe
I think he's porridge.
this is where Ashley's going to contradict my argument. Maybe Fleming was so stressed by having to cut his bread, that's why he forgot about these things and they went mouldy.
Oh, yeah.
So actually, maybe
Oh my
sliced
god.
bread has stopped discoveries.
But it was Staphylococcus cocci bacteria that went mouldy, not bread.
No, I'm not saying bread.
Huh?
But I'm saying he's put this stuff. He's then got so stressed by the act of cutting the bread, he's forgotten all about it,
Also,
and it's
that-
gone mouldy.
That was the mould, I'm pretty sure. Was that not what Staphylococcus aureus is? It's a bacterial mould. And then that was turned into penicillin.
On Wikipedia, reputable source, it says Fleming noticed a petri dish containing staphylococci that had been mistakenly left open was contaminated by blue-green mould from an open window, which formed a visible growth.
Okay.
So there we go.
Clearly I did not pay attention in my childhood science.
So maybe the best thing since sliced bread is an open window.
But
But
you
the
had
open
open
window-
windows
yeah,
before bread.
that doesn't really count, does it? It's like everyone's just trying to open these windows. Like, we should really put a mechanism in so that these windows open. It's so hot in here. There's people in the Middle East who are like frying in their own houses. We really need to open these things, guys. Yeah, somehow I feel like the open window came before the sliced bread.
I think the open
The
window
window
probably
came
came
first
before the
before the
window.
Perfect. Well, I don't know what you guys think, but I think I'm going to concede to Amy on this one. I think she's...
Oh my gosh, I've actually won an argument in the flat and it's recorded.
You've not won yet. Chris hasn't said
Okay,
anything.
sorry.
Well, I feel
You've gained a vote.
I've gained one vote.
unless anyone can confirm that Fleming did have toast for breakfast, and so therefore him having toast really helped him with this discovery, then maybe I'll have to concede that I think yes, maybe penicillin. It should be the new phrase. It should be the best thing since penicillin.
Oh, you don't know how happy this makes me. Like, I never win arguments in this flat.
Imagine how much happier this makes Fleming. He's just
Well,
been his discovery has just been elevated to the best thing since
Yeah.
reference. I mean, what's better, saving lives or becoming a popular phrase?
Wow, there we
Becoming a
go.
popular phrase.
That's Chris's ambition in life.
Yeah.
I just want to become a popular phrase, household name.
So there you go. My name is Chris Heffernan. Say it in your houses, please.
Boom, boom, boom.
Thank you very much for listening.
If you want to get in contact, you can find us on Facebook. We're Mind the Flat Podcast.
On Twitter, we're at mindtotheflat_pod.
On Instagram at mindtheflat_podcast.
And if you want to respond to anything we've said in this episode or suggest a topic for another week, you can head to our Reddit, that's r/mindtheflat, and have your say there, or you can drop us an email at mindtheflatpodcast@gmail.com.
Boom, boom, boom.
Chris Heffernan.